Welcome once again in the Department of English, RBNB College, Srirampur. And you are watching the second part of the story, The Gift of Magi, written by O. Henry. In the first part, we have studied that this is the story of a young couple named as Jim and Della. So Della is a beautiful girl and Jim works for her. They live in the flat which is beyond description. The things they belong, it shows their financial situation. The story opens at the evening of Christmas, that is one day before evening of the Christmas festival. And according to Christian religion, it is a holy festival for Christian people. Now, as a tradition, as a custom, they would like to exchange the gifts, or we know as the Christmas gifts. Here, Della wants to give a Christmas present to her lovable husband. So she saves money in ones and twos. With the bargaining, she suffers a lot to save the money, but unfortunately, she fails to save sufficient money to give a present to her lovable husband. So she understands, she sobs and suffers, she cries, she we can say blames to her fate. But after all, she notices that this is not the solution. So the solution is different, and so she wants to pacify herself. So she wants to console herself, and so she stops weeping and sobbing because she understands that anxiety, sobs and sniffles are not the answers, are not the solutions of the problem. So immediately she gets up from her sofa and she attained her withered means faded, withered cheeks with powder rag. It means she wants to become herself fresh, and she stands nearby a window and she peeps through the window because she's continuously thinking about what present should be given to her lovable husband. So she was thinking of it, and at the same time we are told that this couple has the precious things in their home. Number one is the ancestral watch of Jim, and the second one is the golden hair, the golden long hair, we can say, of Della. So in the first video we have seen that this is the property of this couple, and we have the biblical references as already we have studied in part 1, that these belongings, these two belongings is compared with the Queen Sheba's glory and King Solomon's treasury. It means O. Henry would like to show that the couple thinks himself more aristocrat, more rich than the Queen Sheba as well as King Solomon. So here Della thinks what to do, and suddenly an idea struck in her mind. So this is the recap of part 1. Now in the part 2, we are going to study as according to this plan. First, we'll see the ray of hope. That means how the solution is solved. What is the answer of Della's question? The second one is, that is, Della reached at hair goods because she would like to sell her golden hair to buy a present for her husband. The third one is the deal between Della and Mrs. Safri. The next one is when she gets money, Della rides on the feathers of rosy wings. This is the imaginary wings, and how she wanders in the market to buy a present. Next one, that is the mammoth task and tension. What is this mammoth? Mammoth means difficult, because when she reached at home, it is very difficult for her to maintain her hair, and she is in worry what her husband would think when he returns. So, being a sensitive lady, she comes under pressure, she comes under tension. What will happen when Jim will return from his work? So, this is known. And the last is twist in the story. In the first part of the video, I gave you the meaning of what is twist, and the last is the conclusion, that is we'll talk on overall of the setting or the theme, on the title, etc. So this is the last part of it. Now again I come, that is when the idea strikes in her mind, she finds the solution of her question, and immediately she we can say whirls from this window. Now she is looking or peeping through the window, and then she suddenly whirls just like a top. So she whirls down the window and stands in front of. See, very interesting or magical word is used by O. Henry. O. Henry says she stands in front of funny stripped pier glass. So what is this pier glass? It is a mirror which is fixed in between two windows of the flat. It has a, we can say, decoration, then certain things just like the comb or powder you can put it. So this is known as a pier glass. So she stands in front of the pier glass, and this pier glass is something is better than nothing, or we can say something for nothing. Means actually it is useless mirror. It is a stripped mirror, and one cannot see the full reflection of him or her at one time. Only, O. Henry says, only active person can pierce or gaze into this funny mirror. So our heroine Della is very slim, she is very tender, she is very active, and so due to it she can see her reflection in the mirror. So she starts to pierce in the glass. Pierce means gaze or look. Okay, so she pierces in this mirror, and suddenly, when she watches her reflection in the mirror, she stares at her golden hair. And then she decides to do something with her hair. So, when the idea came in her mind, immediately her dimmed eyes starts to brighten with the ray of hope. So, the first point is the ray of hope. So, she gets the ray of hope. She pulls down her hair and lets it fall to its full length. And when she pulls down her hair, it ripples and shines like a golden cascade. Cascade means waterfall. Because when she pulls down her hair, it starts just like the waves. Okay, and it reaches at her knee, means this is the indication that Dela has very long hair and it makes itself a garment. Now see how the quality and quantity of her hair is described, and it looks like there is a garment wear. See, Dela wears the garment of hair. It looks like this. So this beautiful scene is described with a figurative language by O. Henry. Again, she does her hair up again because she has decided to do something. She takes a pause for some time. She stands still, and immediately the tears splash on the shabby red carpet of her flat. Now, because she wants to sell her golden hair to buy the Christmas present to her husband. So see, in short we can say, she makes a plan, she makes her mind, and so she decides to sell her hair, her golden hair. And so she wears her old brown coat and hat, and she flutters like a bird, and she comes down the stairs because she wants to go into the market or into the bazaar to visit the particular shop, we can say. And she crosses the lanes one after another and finally reached at the shop where she would like to go. She reads the board of the shop, which runs as Ma'am Safrin, hair goods of all kinds. Our Dela just runs one flight up because she is now tired. Okay, so first of all, she tries to control her breath, and after it, when she enters into that shop where she would like to sell her hair, beautiful hair, the owner of the shop, that is Madam Safrin, is described by the short storyteller O. Henry very, very interestingly. How he describes that character, that O. Henry says that she is not an elegant female. She is very large, or we can say stout or fat, and the feature of this madam is also described. O. Henry says she is a chilly woman. Okay, and her appearance and manners never suit to her name, and she uses very unsophisticated grammar and impolite dialect of English, which it means, in short, O. Henry would like to say that she has opponent qualities of a businessman or businesswoman. So after describing the features or characteristics of Madam Safrin, the third point starts, which is about the deal between Mrs. Safrin and our beautiful young lady named Dela. So when Dela reaches at the shop, she tells her intention to Madam Safrin, and she says, I would like to sell my hair. And before deal Because after all, Mrs. Safrin is a businesswoman, and so before to finalize the deal, here Safrin wants to watch the sight of her hair, means the quality or quantity, whatever it may be. So she tells that you have to put up your hair. Then Della put up her hat and her golden, we can say, cascade ripples down, and Mrs. Safrin likes the hair very much, and she finalized the deal in $20. Now see, our heroine Della saves money, but it is insufficient amount, because she could only save $1.78 only. So this is a huge amount for her. Why she could not save the sufficient amount? Because they have limited sources of income. So naturally, our Della becomes very happy. She thinks, yes, with this amount I can purchase, or I can buy the gift or the present I would like to give to my husband. So her happiness knew no bound. It means she becomes very, very happy, and she agrees with the deal, and she gives her hair. She takes the amount what is decided, that is $20, and suddenly she starts to ride on the imaginary, we can say, rosy wings. Why this happen? Because she is overjoyed, she is more happy, and that is why rosy wings. Because with the help of imaginary wing, actually human man has no wings, but sometime in an overjoyous situation or condition, we start to fly in the air with the help of imaginary wings. And just like it, our heroine starts to fly in the air on the imaginary wings of, you can say, rosy wings. She wanders in the market because she wants to purchase or buy the gift for her. And she wanders in the market. She goes from this shop to that shop, this lane to that lane. She spends at least 2 hours, but finally she enters in the shop. She tells her intention, what kind of gift she wants to give to her husband, and the shopman shows very precious thing for her, which she likes very much. In short, we can say she gets the present she wants to be wanted to give to her husband. And what is it? It is a platinum pop chain which can be used for our watch. Okay, so this is a watch. It has a belt. For example, it has a belt. But Jim has an ancestral watch which has a leather belt. And this leather belt is age old, we can say. So he rarely washes time in it because he feels ashamed of it, and that is why he rarely sees the time in it. When she takes that chain, that pop chain, that platinum pop chain, it is very simple one, but very superb one. It is a perfect one. It is a unique one. It is pretty one. And this the attractive design of this pop chain indicates or shows the value or proclaims the value of the pop chain, and she likes it very much. And so there was the deal between the shopkeeper and Della, and the shopkeeper becomes ready to give this pop chain in $21. Now Della has already this amount because she gets $20 by selling her hair, and she saves $1.78. So she has sufficient amount. So she becomes ready to pay the amount. She pays that amount, take that gift, take that platinum pop chain, and she is completely intoxicated with the happiness. Intoxicated means mad. She is mad with happiness. She gives $21 and she returns home with 78 cents. And here this point ends and the next point starts, that is mammoth task and tension. Now she has already sells her hair, so she returned at home with 78 cents. When she enters in the home, again she stands in front of the pier glass or mirror and looks at her appearance. She becomes very unhappy because she is proud of her hair, but now there are no hairs on her head. Okay, so that is why for some time she is nervous, she is unhappy, but within very few minutes, passing of very few minutes, or in the next seconds, we can say, she becomes happy that she is able to purchase the gift which she wants to give to her lovable husband. So she tries to settle her hair, and it takes 40 minutes to settle the hair because she has very short hair now. They are not long because she has already sold it to Madam Suffering. So it is very difficult to settle the hair. That is why she takes lot of time in it. That is 40 minutes. And so we are O. Henry tells us that it is a very mammoth task or difficult task, or we can say challenging task to manage it. And she looks like, here in this appearance, she looks like just like a naughty schoolboy. But she is very sensitive. She is a loving wife. Again, the question arises in her mind. What she would think when he look at me. So she comes under pressure, under tension, we can say. So our point is mammoth or the difficult task, challenging task, and she is under tension, under worry, we can say. So she is afraid of the response of her husband. What would he think, or Jim think, when he returned at home? She is worried whether Jim would think her a cheap woman or a dedicated wife. So dilemma is in front of her, that what Jim would think, a cheap woman or a dedicated wife. So it is hard for her to answer the question. So she was eagerly waiting her husband. It is the time of his arrival, and Jim is very particular, very punctual, and he returns at home. She listens the footsteps. Again, she is afraid. She takes that platinum pop chain in her hand and she sits on the table near the door, waiting her husband. Okay, so when he enters, that is when Jim enters in the house, first of all, he closes the door and he becomes shocked to see the appearance of Della, because he too loved the golden long hair of Della, and Della is without long hair. So it is difficult for him to believe in his eyes, but he only stares. Stares means look constantly. He stares at her, and we can say then Jim is described by O. Henry, the short story teller, and he says how he describes. He describes he is compared with the hunting dog. Okay, he is immovable because he is surprised. He cannot understand what to do. So he only stares at her, and Della is afraid of his look, because she never think of such looks. And then he goes at her and starts to think what to do. Why this happened? Why did she behave like this? Why did she sell her hair? But he never shows his anger. He never shows his disappointment. He never shows his disapproval. Oh, and these surprising looks make Della afraid, because it is beyond her expectations. So she comes near Jim's and she tells what has happened, why she sells her hair, and she says, I sell my hair because of my love at you. I want to give you present for the evening Christmas gift, as a Christmas gift, and I don't have sufficient money to buy the gift, and that's why I sell my hair. And then she gives him the present. Jim, this is the present I bring for you, for the precious or ancestral watch. And I think that the watch and the chain is made for each other. It's a superb one. And when he takes that fob chain, again he can't understand what to do. He can't understand how to respond it. But he comes out of his trance, because he thinks on what happened. Now he gets the answer. So he comes out of his trance and he enfolds Della. He embraces Della, and he draws a packet from his overcoat and throws it on the table. And he says, Della, I also brings a very precious present for you as a Christmas gift, we can say. Della opens that gift with her white tender and nimble finger, and to her surprise, it is a set of brown jeweled rimmed combs, or we can say a set of combs which is made of tortoise shell. So for a number of times, she decides to buy such a kind of set of combs, but due to the poverty, she cannot buy the set, and that's why Jim thinks, why should not I give such a kind of gift as a Christmas gift to her? So when she opens that gift, again her happiness knows no bound. She hugs the present or holds the present to her bosom, and she starts to jump like a cat. But unfortunately, she has a set of combs, but she doesn't have hair. Now Jim has a very precious, attractive, designed chain, pop chain. But Jim says, I also don't have sufficient money to buy the set of combs, and that's why I sold my watch, and with the money I get, I purchased this gift for you. In short, we can say, now a comb is there, but Della doesn't have hair. The pop chain is there, but there is no watch. And so this is, we can say, the twist ending of the story. And here O. Henry says, this is the gift of Magi. In the post video, I explained the meaning of Magi. Okay, so now I come to the last point, that is the conclusion. When we study this story, we find that this is a story of a happy young couple. The poverty is not a hurdle between their happiness. Okay, so as far as the setting of this story is concerned, this story takes place in a small town. The conflict in the story, or the struggle in the story, which is very, very noteworthy. To leave the couple in a flat which is beyond description, their limited sources, etc. Everywhere there is a struggle, and this struggle makes the story very interesting. The story also, the theme of the story is also sacrifice. How the couple sacrifice each other for each other. She sacrificed her hair for her husband, and husband sacrificed his watch for the sake of his lovable wife. This is the story of wisdom, or understand each other, wisdom and money. Okay, the art of characterization makes the story very interesting. The biblical references are properly used by O. Henry in this story. And just like the characteristics of the story, we have exposition when Della recounts her saving. We have conflict when we find that there is inadequate amount to buy the fob chain. There is a rising action when she sells her golden hair. There is a climax in the story when Jim offers the gift. The falling action indicates the gift of the fob chain and denouncement when they embrace and understand each other very well. So this is the story is about. I hope you like this video very much. It is for your story. Thank you very much.